I don't know, just showing them the different types of ways that you can be involved and how creativity doesn't have to necessarily stop once you decide to leave school.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No. I think this is only the beginning of, you know, hers and your journey.
Yeah.
Cool. So, Damon, like, you know, looking at the assignment, were there any areas that you found challenged by?
The hardest part was finding partners. Not all of the organizations were really super transparent about that. Like, it was difficult to find who was supporting them and who wasn't supporting them. And then some of them had so many people supporting them, it was hard to kind of put all of that into one place. So I really just tried to get the biggest donors, and they also all didn't really specifically say like who was their biggest donor and who wasn't. So I'm pretty sure there are some on there that are like heavily donating to the foundations, but they weren't really super transparent about that. And then finding some of their financial reports was a little difficult. A lot of them had it already on their websites, but even then they weren't the easiest to, you know, pick apart and see where this money is coming from. They kind of just bundled everything together and said, this is the total amount of donations we get from individuals. This is the total amount we get from companies, and that's it. They didn't really say like how many grants they get or where they got those grants from. Just the total earning statement at the bottom. So that was a little nerve-wracking trying to find other ways to figure out where they got those resources from. But other than that, it was pretty straightforward, pretty simple.
Okay. Okay. And you said that time management was one of the issues that you kind of like were dealing with. Like, so does this mean that in like prior assignments, time management was a challenge or a factor?
Not really. I think time management was just an issue because it was the end of the semester and I was like scrambling to piece
Gotcha.
and, working on finals, and then there was a conference that I went to completely last minute. It was a tech conference, so I was like trying to put together a presentation for that and then write my weekly newsletter for another internship, and then I was studying for exams and putting together final projects, and it was just a lot of
Wow.
final projects going on at once. But normally it's not that big of a deal. It was just because it was like the last 2-3 weeks of the semester, and all my professors were like, we're about to give you the final 55% of your grade in this.
Whoa, okay. No pressure, right?
Yeah, no pressure.
No pressure.
Nice, nice. Okay. So so I just wanted to understand from you what were some of the learnings that you had with regards to time management? Like what would you do different if you time travel back to when we first assigned you the task, and what would you say to your past self to have like a different outcome or something?
I learned that block scheduling is really helpful for me. It's something that I used to do a lot before I got to college, but when I got to college, I didn't feel like sitting down and actually like writing out individual blocks of time. So I started doing it again when I started the project, and it really helped me kind of prioritize what days I needed to do what times a day I needed to what, and kind of help me realize what part of the day I'm super productive in. Which unfortunately is the very beginning of the day, and I'm not someone who likes to wake up early. So
I feel you on that one. I feel you on that one. Yeah, I'm not a morning owl as well.
yeah, I try to do things at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and while I'm up, it's harder for me to focus. So it definitely taught me like when I need to do certain things that require more of my attention, which is like at 8 in the morning or earlier, which is not my favorite, but.
So, did you find that you were more productive at 8 a.m. or less productive?
More productive at 8 a.m.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's something about like being up when the sun gets up that makes me like get up and go about my day a little bit faster. So on the days where I normally don't have class until noon, I won't wake up until probably 10:30 or 11.
Gotcha.
Which is, I just feel like my day gets off to a slower start. I'm not super motivated to do the things that I was doing like need to get done. So waking up and getting started at like 8 is the best thing for me to do.
Gotcha. Yeah, interesting. That's really, by the way, a small side note, can you like see the sky from in your apartment or whatever?
Yes, I can. Because I live in East Lansing, though it's kind of like really cloudy right now.
Okay.
But normally, if the sun is like gonna be out for the day, I can see it when it rises.
Ah, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, our campus is like, I compare it to living in the woods. Basically, it's a lot of nature all over the place. It's a river that runs like through the middle of campus, and deer. You just walk out and you might see a deer. It's kind of weird.
What? For real?
Yeah, I saw a deer, and my friends were like,
That's great though.
Wow. Can you take a picture next time?
if I see one again, I'll take
Yeah, please do. Huh?
There's a lot of nature, so it's beneficial for me to get up and kind of witness all that before it all runs away and all the kids come out for class and stuff like that.
Wow. So there are deer on campus?
Yeah, there are a lot.
What?
I stayed there for the summer.
Wow, that's crazy.
I think I saw a few snakes,
What?
possums, raccoon. I saw a lot of animals over the summer. Normally during the school year, they're not like super present just because there's so many students, and I'm sure they don't want to be bothered by us. But I stayed in the summer, and I was like, wow, this is like going to the zoo. There's no one around.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh my God. Oh, that's amazing. I should have gone to school there. Why did I go to Boston? Jeez.
It's interesting because people compare it to like a small city, and in a way it is, but there's still a lot of, I don't know. It's really interesting to see how they kind of blend the city part of it and the nature part of it together, because we still are an agricultural school first.
Mm.
So they only use 30% of our campus for classes, I think, and then the other 70% is like farmland. And that's
Really? Huh.
students. Yeah, so you can go see the cows, the horses, whenever you want. You can milk the cows if you want, I think.
Wow.
That's a really cool experience if you get a chance to do it.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm gonna try this semester. So there's a lot you can do. You can ride the horses, you can take classes and learn how to take care of them. So they are still very much an agricultural school first, as much as people often forget it, but it's nice.
Nice, nice. Wow, that's amazing. Sounds really scenic and picturesque from what you described.
Yeah, it does.
Awesome, awesome. So, okay, great. So, so just before we get into discussing your goals, I also wanted to ask you, so as far as the assignments go, and I want to check if I'm remembering this correctly, but I think in our interview with you, I think you mentioned something about that you had some experience working with an events company or something, right?
When I was younger, I had kind of a summer job working with an events company. Not really, it was like a non-profit school in a way. And I was technically the assistant to the director, so I did a lot of planning for their final event, which is like a showcase for all of the kids to kind of show what they've been working on throughout the summer in their classes. And I had to reach out to a lot of donors and sponsors and kind of organize the whole thing and make sure that everybody got there when they needed to be there. And I got a lot of experience like organizing with that, I think. Right now, my other internship, I don't really have to organize. It's more writing focused, I think. Yeah, in high school I did a lot of organizing just because I ran a lot of clubs in a way, so I had to plan everything most of the time. They had
Okay.
a super big loaves and fishes food drive that I had to organize every year. So yeah, I have some history organizing, but not in the way that I think I would like at this point.
Okay. So, what's the area that you would like to have experience with events?
Little bit more or a little less of a background role, I think. I wasn't necessarily making the decisions in those formats. I was kind of being told like this is what needs to be done, and then you need to reach out to these people and do this. I wasn't really a part of making any of the decisions as far as planning the event.
Okay.
I didn't get really that many opportunities to offer any input about how I thought certain things might work better or how this might not work out because this kid or this situation or this is what happened last year. So getting just a little bit of input would probably be something a little bit more beneficial because then it
Okay.
gets to show me what I think works might not work.
Right. Okay. So it's interesting that you say that because I do remember you mentioning that during the interview. So it just so happens like one of my other companies is an events company called Dynamite. So I think like maybe for your next assignment, we just to mix it up, we might like give you like a small assignment to do with that, just to kind of like see, how you like it, don't like it, whatever. And the idea is to try to make this experience as well rounded as possible, so that you kind of like experience like a couple of different things, so that you kind of like, because our learning is that the more things you try out, the more things you're going to find out about either what you like, what you don't like, or what you really excel at, you know? So unless you try like different things, you're not going to know what those items are. And this is also kind of like a stepping stone to, when you like are ready to get into the workforce, because then you'll have like a better clarity of the kind of roles that you will A, enjoy, and B, be most likely to excel at, you know? So that's kind of like the thinking there. Okay, cool. So now that Catherine's on again, so great. And that's good timing too, because we're like talking about the goal setting part. So, Damon, can you like tell us, okay, just for to establish this. So currently, are you a junior or a senior or what are you?
I just officially became a junior at the end of this semester. So I'm like halfway through that now, technically, I guess. I like checked my credits. And so I was a credit away from being a junior last semester. So yeah.
Okay, nice. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. You have 2 semesters left or 3?
I have 3. I have spring semester that's coming up, and then I have all of next year, I believe, depending on if I take classes this summer apart from my study abroad.
Okay.
Oh, and where are you going?
I'm going to Europe for a month. I believe we leave in July. I'll come back in August. So I'm going to London, Paris, Prague, and Arles, I think.
And where?
Arles.
Where's that?
Small country, and I think the Czech Republic.
Okay. Okay, so I guess it's somewhere in the vicinity of Prague then, right?
Yeah, it's somewhere over there.
Gotcha, gotcha.
I don't know what that is, but I guess it's like a medieval-ish country, is what I was told. I'm not.
Nice. Take pictures, okay?
I will.
Nice, nice. Okay, and by the way, did you check with your school if they have anything like an internship for credit? Because if you apply for that, maybe this internship could be, you could get a credit for it.
Okay. Yeah. I am working on that application right now. There's like a whole survey, essay, all kinds of things that I have to fill out. So that's what I'm currently working out right now. And then I have to talk to the director of the program. And then I think she's gonna give me some paperwork to send to you guys.
Sure, yeah.
Send that back. Not really clear about it because they're not super descriptive about how you get that class because it is a requirement for me to graduate. So I'm working on that right now.
Yeah, because one of the other interns just sent me that. It was like a DocuSign thing. And, it's something that we were able to turn around in like 5 minutes,
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. So you're currently a junior, okay? And as far as the summer goes, you're going to be in Europe, right?
Yes.
So summer is what, like 3 months or 2 months, or how long is it?
4, I believe. Yeah.
4. Wow.
4
Okay.
and a half. We get done the first week of April. or the first week of May is when we
Mhm.
finish. And then we don't go back until the end of August.
Okay. So, okay, April to August.
Mm.
And you're going to Europe July to August?
Yes.
So that means April, May, June, those 3 months, what are you going to be doing?
I don't know yet.
Okay, cool.
I'm not sure. My
Well,
family
so,
would like me to come home, but I don't want to come home. I being here for 3 weeks is a little much for me. So being here for 3 months I think it's gonna drive me crazy.
Gotcha, I hear you.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out right now.
Okay.
but the last part of April is when you're going to be studying for finals. I'm assuming you have finals in the first week of May.
Yes, I'll be studying for them the last week of April, and the first week of May is when we should be taking them, I believe.
Okay. Okay.
So, okay, wait. So you said last week of April and first week of May?
Yes.
So my calculation was off by a month then. So it's May, June, July, August. So
Yes.
May, June is the 2 months that you want to like think about because July and August are you're going to be in Europe, right?
Yeah, July I'll be in August. I mean July I'll be in Europe. The August I get back from Europe the 1st of August. Or like
Okay.
supposed to get back the 1st of August. And then classes don't start until the 29th, I think, the 28th or the 29th. So I'll have that entire month to kind of do things.
Okay, interesting. So it's about the month of August and those first 2 months, right?
Yeah,
May, June.
yeah.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay, cool. And you said that you wanted to be on campus during those 2 months or something?
I don't have to be on campus. I just don't want to be home.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay, cool. I hear you.
I get very unproductive when I'm home, or like, I have younger siblings, so then I'm running around doing things for them, and I'm like, what were you
Gotcha.
doing while I was at school? Like, I need you to get back into that
Right, right, right. Got it, got it.
behavior. Yeah.
Okay, okay, that's good. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so as far as these like 2 months go, because those are like two, like months that's like a block. So as far as your summer internship goes, did you like what were your thoughts as far as which company you wanted to intern with?
No, we hadn't talked about that yet.
Okay, but so have you done any thinking on, like which company, like so let's open it up, right? So tell me your dreams. Just dream big, right? Just let loose of everything, let loose of reality, okay, for a moment, and just dream big. Like anything you want can be given to you, okay? So let's just go with that. And tell me like if you could pick any company that you wanted and it will be given to you, which company would that be that you would like to intern with?
Probably the New York Times. I kind of like what they're doing right now, but at the same time, I'm not the biggest fan. They're wishy-washy with me. So, every week it's something new with them. But I would like to work with them. Especially, they came out with a project called the 1619 Project, I believe. And those are the kind of things that I would like to do, which is kind of just a visual media. It's not strictly just journalistic writing. It's a visual kind of way of showing things to people and helping them understand things. So it was a collection of essays and pictures and videos, and it was like the entire New York Times magazine, I think, for a month. So doing something very visual like that is something that I really would like to pursue at some point.
Interesting, interesting. And so, is there a reason why you selected New York Times as opposed to any other publication?
Um, they bother me the least, honestly, out of the rest of the publications. I have like 1,000 news alerts that pop up on my phone all of the time, and the way that I like to read things, the way that they present information to people is just the least problematic most of the time, I think, for me. And I think it's just a great place to, learn from a lot of really experienced people. It's a really established organization, and to be there would be like great. I feel like I would learn a lot in that environment.
Okay, cool. So this is really good feedback. So have you looked into like have you gone to their website, their career section to see if they have like a summer internship or a summer cohort or something like that that you can apply for?
Yeah, I have applied for something with them. It's called the New York Times Institute, and it's only 2 to 3 weeks, I believe. But what you would do is you would go to New York. They would pay for you to go and everything. And you would work with their editors on whatever story or topic you would want to work on, and you would be there for 2 to 3 weeks working on that. I applied for it. I'm not super sure when they're gonna get back to me about it. Hopefully within the next few weeks, just so I can kind of, if I don't get into it, I can kind of figure out what that's gonna look like if I don't get into it. I don't know. I have been looking into other internships, but they're all, my study abroad really conflicts with like a lot of internships right now
Right.
because they want me to be there the entire summer.
Gotcha.
And I am already paying to go on this trip.
Yeah.
So I don't want to
Yeah.
be like, no, I can't go now. So I am trying to like figure out how to work around that. Some organizations are like, we can't work around that. Like, we want you to be here the entire summer. Others are like, maybe, probably not though, because that's like a month where you would be gone.
Right.
So working on that right now is kind of why I don't know what I'm going to do for the first half of the summer, just because a lot of people don't want you to kind of dip halfway through the program.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But as far as the New York Times goes, that doesn't conflict with you, right?
Yeah.
It does?
No, it doesn't. Okay, rephrase the question because I think I misunderstood.
Okay, so as far as the New York Times program that you mentioned, you said it's like 3 weeks or something. So that's less than a month. So does that internship or does that program conflict with your travel plans?
No, because it's in May.
Okay,
Yeah, it's at the end of May, so it's way before I would leave for Europe, I believe.
oh, gotcha. Okay, so then that would be ideal, right?
Yeah, that would be like the most ideal thing. I would still have a few weeks of like nothing to do really. But that might not be a bad thing. Probably need to sit down for a couple weeks and get things together before I go back to school. Yeah, no, I think that was like the most ideal one. So I applied for it because I was like, oh, okay, well, I can still do this and then go to have some time in between and then go to Europe and then go back to school. And I don't have to be super, super busy this summer.
Right.
So it was the most ideal. Hopefully I get it so I can stop worrying about it so much. But yeah.
Okay, cool. So I would say like just look into, because New York is filled with like a whole bunch of publications, right? So you have the Wall Street Journal, you have, uh, well, there's New York Times is something you already mentioned, but there's like Vanity Fair. There are like a bunch of publications out there. I would also
Yeah.
suggest looking into USA Today because we have a contact at USA Today that we could potentially leverage to see if there's something that's possible. So look into the USA Today group. I think the holding company is called Gannett. Okay, that's Gannet. Um, so look into that to see if there's something there that kind of catches your fancy because you know if uh, if there's a possibility of leveraging the contact that we have, then that's something that we would absolutely love to do it for you. You know. Okay, so that's one USA Today, and
The New Yorker is always an option too.
what's that?
The New Yorker.
Okay. Oh yeah, New Yorker too. Yeah. Do you know anyone there?
I don't.
No, no, Catherine.
Okay.
I don't think. I don't think.
Okay, yeah. Fine. So we'll check and see, like if we know anyone. But I think if you can kind of do your homework and look into like all the different news publications, like even look at things like TV, because there are a lot of TV stations in New York. There's ABC, NBC, MTV, Viacom, all that. That's all in New York. So look into that too and see if there's something there that you like. Maybe it's ESPN or HBO or whatever. There are like so many.
Mhm.
So if there's something there, then maybe that's something that we could, try to see. Because another thing is that all these things have like very crazy like deadlines
Yeah.
for, doing the application. So we definitely want to be like safe, for that. So I would say just kind of maybe if you want to spend today's already okay. Today's the 30th, but okay. So maybe if you want to spend a few hours today, just kind of like doing that research on all the different like publications. By that I mean both um, like news outlets, as well as radio, as well as like magazines and newspapers and quarterlies and monthly, all that, the entire thing as it relates to New York, because that's where we're based out of. Um, then also there also might be an opportunity. This is something that I'll take as my next step from this conversation, is that I'll reach out. So look into Disney, okay?
Okay.
So they're like, I know many people at Disney. Look into Disney and check and see what their like summer internship looks like. I think they call it a fellowship. I'm not sure, but just look into that. Look into the entire Disney network. So that means Disney, ABC, ESPN, and like a bunch of them. So look into like all of it, and kind of like get back to us with your kind of like selection as to where you'd like to work. But also more importantly, by looking in the career section, check to see if there actually is an internship that aligns with your availability.
Okay.
Because then what you can do is you can then apply to that internship through back channels. We'll reach out to our contacts there at Disney and the other places and say like, hey, we have a superstar here. Can you do something? And and hopefully that works.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I will definitely look into that today.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that should be like your priority for yeah, because today is the 30th, right? So tomorrow's the 31st, right?
Yes.
So tomorrow is like the party day, but today could be like your work day, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, so I would say like suggest like devote like a significant amount of time to that today. So based on your inputs, we can then, like we'll then have like ammunition to work with on our end to then figure out, like which way do we kind of like push you, and
Yeah.
the kind of like contacts that we need to reach out to, because as you know, everything is a process about reaching out to them. We don't know what they're doing right now. Are they traveling? Are they in Belize or whatever? We don't know. So we need to like get a hold of them, and the sooner we hear from you, the better. But yeah, at least I think if we hear from you by, let's say, 10 a.m. tomorrow, I think it should be enough time for you, right, to look into
Yeah,
things.
that should be enough time.
So I actually had a follow-up question, just to kind of understand what it is that you're looking for. So
Mhm.
within the 1619 project at the New York Times, you said it was a collection of essays,
Mhm.
project photos. What was it about it that really drew your attention to it?
Um, it was something that was about my history that I had never seen before. Really, it was a conversation that's kind of always been skipped over in my education, or nobody really knew or was told from a perspective that I couldn't see through. So that's what originally kind of made me look at it. I was like, oh wow, it's teaching me about a lot of things about my history and my family's history that I didn't know. And as I got to look at it more, it was the fact that it wasn't just one format of media. It wasn't just pictures of something. It wasn't just one individual putting everything together. It was multiple people and multiple voices and different perspectives that kind of came together to create this one cohesive thing. So I think the effort that went into kind of putting that together is really what drew my attention to it. Because I was like, I know that took a lot of work to find all of these different people who had, some of them even had conflicting opinions, like the different essays did. And I thought that that was really interesting and kind of made the project stronger when they put it all together, is that not everybody sees things the same way. I guess just the way they put it together was the most interesting thing to me. I really like knowing how people put really big projects like that together and all the things that have to go into that. Just because I work on so many projects for school all the time, and I know what I have to do on an individual scale. But if I ever want to do it, in the future as a career, maybe I kind of want to know a little bit more about what goes into that, who does what, who has more oversight over things, and kind of how the people who created the things contribute to how it gets put together and how it gets laid out.
Makes sense. It makes sense. Okay.
So as far as that 1619 thing, is there like on that site that you saw this, was there some like example of the output?
I didn't really see any examples of it. I can look through it again. I haven't looked at it in a while, actually. I try to look at it like often. I haven't looked at it in a while. I didn't see any the last time I looked at it, but I can go back through it and see if there's any in there.
Okay, cool. Because I think if there were an example of it, I think it'll be really helpful to understand what that was. Because, chances are that we might have something very similar to that. So it'll kind of like help us also understand what that was.
Okay.
This is the top result. Here's what I found on the web.
Jeez, Google is like eavesdropping my conversations. Like, what is up with that, huh? Jeez. So, like part of our process is like we've already done this with one intern, and this is something that we'll do with you as well. So part of the process is that we ask you to like make a small video to document your experience about working on the assignment. So part of this, it's kind of like a digital journal, so to speak. And once you make that video, the video will be published on our very specific channel called RSQUARE University. So that's where the video will live, and it'll basically be used as a resource for other interns to learn from. So in this video, what we basically want to do is we want for you to say like, okay, this is the assignment, this is how I went about doing it, this is the final result, these were the comments, the feedback I received, this is how I incorporated it, and basically just like that. And you would create that video using this software called Screencast-O-Matic. It's a freeware that you can, download from the website. Kat will send you the link. So yeah, so I think that's something that which will also like, help to make this like, a little bit more, like audiovisual, as well as, it's a means for like, other people to learn from your experience as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's something that Kat will send you the brief on. But it's what I've shared with you right now is basically kind of like the gist of it. Yeah, but as far as like working on that, don't worry about that for now because we've already kind of defined as to how you're going to spend your time, at least the priority in your available time today, which is going to be researching these internships, so that's going to be like priority number one, and you're going to focus on that. And then as far as this assignment goes, you can like work on this after you've done this,
Okay.
the internship research.
Okay.
Yeah. I just wanted to make that very clear because, the whole focus of this conversation is figuring out your goal setting and to figure out a strategy as to how to achieve that goal. So that is the primary focus of this conversation.
Okay. That sounds good to me.
Okay, awesome. Catherine, did you have like any other comments or questions?
I know, I think this is a very good first start. And I think you sharing with us more about yourself helps us to really kind of understand more about you and what it is that you are interested in doing, which is very helpful when it comes to, giving you assignments, because we obviously want to give you something that you're going to be passionate about doing.
Yeah.
We don't want to waste your time either. Yeah, so I think this was a very good first conversation, and I look forward to having more of them.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and also demand like so the way that these conversations work is that on your sheet, your Google sheet, we basically want you to populate it in such a way that we need for you to enter today's date as the date of your first one-on-one. So basically, the rotation is that you're due for a one-on-one every 2 weeks.
Okay.
So that's kind of like how it goes. So since you know this now, it's kind of like it falls on you to kind of reach out to Kat and say like, hey, okay, it's been 2 weeks, and I'm due for a one-on-one, and then she'll then schedule it, just like you schedule this.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, and aside from the New York Times, which is a news publication, besides like journalism, was there any other like industry vertical that kind of spoke to you or called out to you?
Um, as of right now, no. I've been looking into that just because I am getting close to graduation, and I don't know if I want to go to grad school yet. So, been trying to figure that out. I haven't found anything yet that kind of gives me that same flexibility to kind of move around and try different things, or even the opportunity to try the things that I want to try right now. So I've been looking into that, talking to professors to see kind of what they thought. They have not given me a lot of feedback just because they live in that world of like media and news publications. So been working on that, and it's a little difficult, but got some other resources that I need to talk to before I decide that I'm just gonna go try a bunch of different things first.
Yeah, yeah. So I think trying a bunch of different things is fine, especially since you're still in college, so you can actually use this time to kind of like explore different options because each of those things is going to give you a little glimpse into what the world of that is, and that should be like enough to inform you as to whether it's something that you'd like to do like, full time, so to speak, either as a job or something, right? After you're done with school. So you should definitely experiment and explore now because if you run into something that you don't like, hey, you'll know that, okay, I didn't like that. Great. Okay, next.
Yeah.
As opposed to, you're done with school, you get a job, you're like, shit, okay, crap, I hate this job. What do I do? So you don't want to run into that situation. Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully no.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really would like to avoid that situation.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. And Demond, just kind of remind me, what's your major?
Journalism.
Okay, so you're a journalism major and you're keen on entering journalism, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so another thing that I'd like to just leave with you is within journalism. So as you know, because of the advancements of technology, journalism, the core journalism has kind of really expanded.
Yeah.
Journalism previously used to be like just press and TV, but now that's expanded to include, like online stuff. It includes, you could be a blogger, you could be a social media influencer, you could have like your own thing that you do vlogs for. You could be a podcaster. There are like many, many, many different things that now, each social media is kind of like in a way fragmented or expanded to include like other opportunities, so I would kind of just leave you with this as to I'll ask you like within journalism, what is that one thing that you really are drawn towards? Is it the research? Is it the analysis? Is it the discovery? Is it like putting it all together? Is it about making a point? Is it about the whole aha moment that comes after all of this? And it's that aha moment that you live for. So, I mean, if you can answer this right now, great. But if you can, just spend some time thinking about it and kind of like maybe we'll have like a follow-up conversation to this. It doesn't have to be like 2 weeks out, it could be sooner as well. But we just want to kind of like leave you with this thought because this thought is going to be your why, you know? because that your why is what's going to be critical in figuring out the kind of exact role that you want, because we'll then have we would have been so specific about it that doing this function, you will, with a great likelihood know that doing this is going to make you happy. Technically, that function could exist in an area outside of classic traditional journalism as well.
Yeah.
Maybe that function exists at Microsoft. Maybe it exists at NASDAQ. I don't know, but I'm just saying, right? So the point is, when we know that what, it'll really help us to really put our thinking caps on and really help you to like really explore that and see like, what's out there, and then you can really explore and have some fun with, because you still have about a year or so for graduation, right? Yeah, so we kind of like want to use this time to do as much, experimentation. Well, I wouldn't say experimentation, that's the wrong word, discovery. We want to use this period as a discovery period to figure out what are the different things that you can try out with a thin slicing method to have enough visibility of it for you to realize if that's something that you'd like to do full time going forward or not,
Right.
you know?
Mhm.
So that's the goal.
So to follow that up too, because and from personal experience, I think Rajiv and I have both been in that position where we've done things that we're not really passionate about, and it kind of it pushes you along this timeline that you don't really want to go down, but you just don't know what else to do. And until you really sit down and start to look at what it is that you're really passionate about, and like those things that just really drive you, and it's not just what, but it's who as well, because it can be things um, like anything that's related to children or that's women's related, or issues within the sphere of women in general. Like there are these small pockets um, throughout journalism, and journalism covers absolutely everything.
Yeah.
So figuring out what it is that really drives you deep down will also help you to kind of figure out what it is that you can want to do, because you can even look at the UN as its own global network, right? Because they're reporting on issues throughout the entire world, and there's so many different issues, and there's so many different both large organizations and smaller organizations within, say, UNICEF, for example. Like, that's just one tiny brand. It's a big one, and it's a large one, but they're reporting on education, on children's health, and it spans many different things. So really trying to figure out what it is that you're passionate about will also help you to narrow down the focus of the avenues that you'll ultimately pursue, rather than just saying journalism. Well,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, we are my minor right now is photojournalism. Photography is something that I'm really interested in, so I'm trying to figure out how to not blur the lines between artistic photography and then journalistic photography, because they are two very different things. I'm working with a professor right now. Her name is Judith Walgren. I'm actually going to Europe with her this summer. And she is a Pulitzer Prize winning, just a great person, honestly. She's done a lot, so she's teaching me. I'm learning a lot from her about what exactly I want to do and what I don't want to do, and why I want to do the things I want to do.
Gotcha.
And so for me, it's pretty much just the connection. The aha moment isn't necessarily for me, it's for everyone else. So like if I take a picture and then you read the caption under the picture and you're like, oh, I don't look like this person, but the thing that they just described, it's exactly the same as something that I went through. It's that kind of aha moment, which is kind of why I want to do it. We had a project, our final project for the past class I took with her. We had to make kind of a book. And so my book was kind of about the Black students on my campus and how they find community with each other when they're away from home, going to a predominantly white institution. And so that kind of gave me more clarity about the why, because they all kind of had an aha moment after I gave it to them. We're not the most tight-knit community on campus the way we would like to be. And so I showed it to a few people and they're like, oh, I have no idea who this person is. They're a freshman or a senior, and I just read their story and I relate to that heavily. And even there were students who aren't necessarily of color who were reading it and they're like, yeah, I go through the same thing. So kind of that aha moment that we all are very similar, even though we are often led to believe that we're not, is kind of a big why for me, because I think we can get a lot further if we realize that
Yeah.
we all pretty much are going through very similar things.
Oh, that's amazing. So, is it possible for you to share that project with Kat using WeTransfer or something?
Yeah, I can send it to her.
Yeah, because we would absolutely love to check it out. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and if are there any other projects like that that you've done like recently?
Hmm. No, I in my iOS design lab that I'm in, we had to kind of solve a problem for the university, which is how to basically keep first year students being successful. So we had to develop kind of the idea of a website that would solve this problem for the university, or at least help it make it easier for them. So I did that. And this upcoming semester, the second half of the design lab is really kind of making our own app and learning how to code and kind of figure out what problems we want to solve in the world with that. So that's something I will start working on again when I get back to school on the 6th. And as I work through that, I can send you guys a little bit of that and what that looks like. And hopefully the app will be finished by the end of the semester, depending on my group's work ethic and my work ethic and how things shake out. But
Gotcha.
yeah.
So which was the first part of this app project? The thing was the design part?
Yeah, the first part was kind of just learning the design process and all of the thought that goes into creating an app before you actually sit down and do all of the coding. So this past semester, we did not do a lot of coding. It was really learning how to communicate with the people in your group, how to reach out to outside resources and see what's been tried already and what hasn't been tried and what worked and what didn't. And like, it's just a lot. It was like a semester of brainstorming and tearing the problem apart and putting it back together and then arguing with each other about how you put it back together.
Gotcha.
So it was beneficial, and I understand why they did it. A lot of people, I think, thought that we were going to come in and we were going to start learning how to code immediately. And I talked to the director, and she was like, no, that's not what you're going to do this semester. You're going to really learn how to do the design process, because we don't want to just throw you into coding and you have no idea how to problem solve or work through or build, the idea before you actually do the coding, because the coding is like the least important.
Right.
Yeah.
So so that's great. So we actually might have like a really interesting project for you. Okay, this is like the second project, right? We're just rating projects today. So the second project for you could be to look at the Bridging Futures website, and kind of like look at it through the same lens that you just did, and kind of like critique the website to like ask those hard questions as to like what are you guys trying to do, this, that, and in a way kind of be a consultant to us by kind of having us go through that process to arrive at because those insights are then going to advise your design process, right? And that's one part of it. The second part of it could be to look at some, successful nonprofits in the space and find out and just kind of like look at what their design is, the design of their homepage, the design of the inside pages, and then figure out, like, is there a commonality between the design structure of successful nonprofits like Smile Train or UNICEF or, like there's so many of them out there, right? And to see, because if there is a commonality, then it's kind of pretty obvious that if we follow that train of thought, then we would be on the right path, because most nonprofits have similar objectives, which is either awareness, engagement, and donor management, broadly speaking, so those are like the three main objectives most nonprofits have. So keeping that as, let's say, the expected or intended outcome, you can then kind of go through the process with that mindset.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, I think that would be really great.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. So okay, so I think we covered like a lot of stuff in this call. And so I did record this call, so I'll send you the video of that just for you to refer to, if you need to refer to it, because I do know that we did like throw a lot of stuff at you,
Mm.
and I don't think you were taking notes, which is a good thing. I applaud you for that, that you were like 100% present, so that's good. Yeah, so we'll send this out to you, and you can take a look at it, in your leisure to see if there's anything that you kind of needed more clarity on. Kat, of course, will send you like a bullet point, like list, so to speak, action items, summary of this call, just to kind of help you, you know, to clarify your next steps, which, as we discussed, is that internship research. That's number one. And yeah, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay.
Cool. Sounds
Yeah.
good.
That sounds good.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, no problem. Have a nice day.
Bye.